But briefly, Desiree, would you share just some thoughts about where you saw God's fingerprints, especially in that moment when you dedicated your life to, to this new direction? Can you speak about, where you see God's fingerprints maybe in that space?
Oh gosh, all over it. I mean, um, like I said, when I first came to Christ, I came very boldly, but also still like with one foot out. Like, but I still want to cling on to my old life just in case this God thing doesn't work out. I want to be able to have that sugar daddy I can fall back on. Um, and then about a year or about 9 months into my walk, I had gotten the opportunity to get baptized. And after I was baptized, I felt the weight of my sin kind of falling off of me. That was the first time I ever shared my testimony to anyone outside of my mom. I shared it on stage to my entire church, thinking, oh, I'm never going to actually get plugged into this community. And now I'm like, oh, everyone I know now knows the hardest thing about me. And then that's when I began kind of wrestling. I'm like, okay, Desiree, you literally been washed clean, made new, and you're still having sex with this man for money. And but I remember like fighting, kind of like I used to always joke and say, me and God are beefing right now because I want to be with him, but he's making it real hard because he's making me give up. The cost of being with God is going to be my old life. And I don't know if I'm ready to let go. And I remember my time with God is typically like 4:30 in the morning before anyone else is awake, either reading my Bible or writing my prayer journal. And I remember being up one morning, writing in my journal, I'm like, God, I know I have to stop this sexual sin. Because even though I was having sex for money, I was like, this is just to pay my bills. I kind of block it out. But like my dating life, like actual dating, I'm like trying to find a husband. I was like, well, no, I'm not having sex till marriage. And I'm like, this is so disordered. This is so backwards. So I remember writing just a prayer to God. I'm like, God, I know that what you have for me is so much bigger, but it's so hard to trust because, practically I have to survive, I have to live. And I just remember like feeling God's voice just saying, like, do you not trust that I'm going to provide for you? And so I ended up blocking that sugar daddy, cutting things off completely, ending all ties. And I'm like, okay, God, the math isn't mathing because this new job I had working for Turning Point USA, actually working for Charlie Kirk, paid a lot less than my previous sales job that I had left. Did not pay enough to cover my bills without my sugar daddy. And God kept telling me, trust me, I will provide. And I tell you, for 4 or 5 months straight, despite not even making enough money to cover my bills, every month, miraculously, God was providing. I mean, there was one month where I got a direct deposit in my bank account from 2 jobs ago that owed me money, and it was exactly what I needed to pay my rent. And just like so many moments like that, I'm like, okay, God, you've got it. And I don't say that just to say people should willy nilly just like God's got it, hands up. Like you have to have some agency and you have to make wise choices. But when you're really struggling or holding on to sin because you feel like you genuinely cannot live without it, I promise. When it comes to walking away from sin, God makes it possible. God makes the impossible possible. And I've seen it in my own life.